Inside turn 3, got a car turn around into the wall. Is one of the championship contenders, Riggs. David Green in the 37 with troubles.
And he thinks he has a flat tire.
Caution flag is out.
And Vickers gets the lucky dog.
What a huge pass for David Green in his championship bid. It's not going to be enough. And the 2003 NASCAR Busch Series champion is Brian Vickers. What an epic struggle this was today for all of these teams.
This is everything I've ever dreamed of, everything I ever worked for so far in my whole life. My buddy Adam Petty, he was with me the whole day.
Saturday was a culmination of a dream that began with go-karts 12 years ago. Now that dream is somewhat put in the background, back to reality, or is it still a dream?
It's still a dream. I mean, I'm still just, every morning I wake up, it's like, wow. You know, you're just sinking in. But, you know, today is a whole new day. The competition is stronger. So we're going to go out there and do the best. This UAW Delphi Chevrolet team has done an awesome job in practice, qualifying. So we're just going to have a good time today. We're not racing for points, and we'll start again next year.
He starts third. He won his first Busch Series title on Saturday, trying for his first Winston Cup win today on Sunday, Bill.
Thanks, guys. Matt Kenseth never won a Busch championship, second in '98 and third in 1999. Now he has a Winston Cup championship. So do you think Matt and Katie put Cambridge, Wisconsin on the map last week? Nah, it was always there. Just a few more people know where it is. About a month ago, we showed you Cambridge through the eyes of Matt Kenseth. Today, Matt Kenseth through the eyes of Cambridge, Wisconsin. A calm and quiet town, a kind of Mayberry of the Midwest.
He was always a good kid, you know, a good little boy, and, you know, did the right things, and he had a good heart and a good attitude toward life, I think.
As a kid, Matt Kenseth made Opie Taylor look like the school bully. Believe it or not, Matt even grew up at the corner of Terrace and Pleasant Street.
I mean, it was so neat growing up here because, you know, I don't think ever until we moved out of that house we ever locked our doors. And when I was a little kid, I remember one of my favorite things to do around here, too, is we used to play flashlight tag at night.
So this is the yearbook for Matt in second grade, right?
Exactly.
And this is his picture.
That it is. He was always a very polite young man, rather shy, but had a sparkle to him, and you never knew what was going to come out of that sparkle.
That sparkle would eventually start a fire of passion and persistence that warmed Matt's tiny race shop during those cold Wisconsin winters.
It'd be 0 sometimes, 10, 20 degrees. We'd go out and fire up the wood stove and go out there and work all night.
He'd get home from work at 9 o'clock at night. He'd come out and stand in front of the wood stove all cuddled up with a pile of graham crackers and a glass of milk. And he'd sit there and watch us work, so that was his favorite thing.
But for Matt, it always came down to, well, performance.
He actually had a Chevette that was white, and he painted it and it said vet on it because, you know, he couldn't afford a vet, so that was his vet. And cars like that, we'd be taken through the corners at, you know, high speeds, and we just lost control and got us spun around, ended up in the cornfield. And one time we tipped over on the roof. And when it's all done, you laugh and say, "You want to do it again?" And you'd be right at it, doing it again. I can't give you a good one because we had a car coming. We used to get down to the bottom there and come off, and you'd almost be in a cornfield. Whenever it was bushes like that, and you go see if there's traffic.
And it was in race traffic that young Matt earned his first nickname.
When he came along, the guys he was beating were considerably older than he was. He was known as Matt the Brat all over the Midwest. Wherever he raced, he'd go places and he'd go to see kids in schools, and they'd say, class, this is Matt Kenseth, and they'd go, Matt the Brat! And so he was known for that. However, I can understand how he would want to, you know, outgrow it.
In Cambridge, Wisconsin, they will never have to give Matt Kenseth the key to the city, because for this native son, the door is always open.
Who's most famous there?
In Cambridge, oh, I would say Matt Kenseth. But statewide, I guess it would have to be Brett Favre.
But Matt's catching on, isn't he?
Oh, yes, he is.
It's actually kind of funny now because we have people fighting over TVs as to whether to watch the Packers or to watch Matt. And I don't know, I think Matt's winning.
Fire department usually puts something up on the tower commemorating something that's going on or just a season or something. And last year they came up with the idea of putting the 17 up there. When Matt won early in the season, they still had the Easter Bunny up there. And so people were coming in wanting to know when that 17 was going to go up.
I really can't go anywhere that people don't just say to me, you know, what's going on? Even in church on Sunday, I was trying to find the hymn number to sing, and a lady poked me in the back. She goes, "Are we going to win it in?" I'm like, what number?
It makes me real proud, and I know how much especially in our small town, that people really enjoy it and how they just love racing and love NASCAR and love Matt. But I still pinch myself and wonder if this was really happening.
It really did. Matt likes to credit his crew and his cars for bringing him the championship. In Cambridge, they like to say Matt brought the class. Next, Wally Dallenbach hits the road. You're watching the Discover Card Countdown to Green on NBC.
With Bill Elliott's future still uncertain for 2004, all the guys on the Dodge squad, the 9 guys, they want to get Bill Elliott back to victory lane. And Big Red rolls back into victory lane. 49 races since Bill Elliott last won a race, the Brickyard 2002.
Today, the 1998 Winston Cup champion starts 20th. The question is, how many more starts will he make? 4-time champion Jeff Gordon starts 5th, and he's with Marty.
Riding along the backstretch with Jeff Gordon, Rockingham was not so kind to him, producing his first finish out of the top 10 in the last 8 races. But you have a tendency to figure these new racetracks out. Give me your take on the new Homestead.
I love it. I'm definitely a big fan of it. You know, I've never been a huge fan of flat racetracks, especially mile-and-a-half ones. So I think what they've done here is phenomenal, and I think they're going to see a great race today. And hopefully our race car is one of the ones that put on a good race.
One of only 4 racetracks Jeff Gordon has not won on the Winston Cup circuit. Matt?
Kevin Harvick starts 6th, chasing some prize money and points, but more importantly, you want to win. But how difficult is this new racing surface to read, Kev?
Well, the racing surface is really awesome, and it's a great improvement to the racetrack. We've got to commend ISC for doing that, but doesn't seem like you can make your car to not stop pushing at the end of a run. So we just haven't quite figured that out 100% yet. So we'll just have to, we want to go out and say we're going to kick ass and win the race and do all those good things, but I'm just not 100% sure on getting a good read on the racetrack, so I have to wait and see.
He starts 6th in the points today, Burns.
Jamie McMurray won in his second Winston Cup start. It took him 40 more to get on the pole for the first time. And then your crew was down there, you know, waving at you and cheering. What's it like to be introduced last?
That's pretty cool. Jeff Burton came up to me just before driver intros, and he said, look, I've only had 1 pole in my Winston Cup career. And he said, the only thing I learned from it was that there's no time to use the restroom when you get back over to the car. So I went ahead and went before I got up in the truck with you guys.
That's when we'll break away from Jamie. You know, the last 2 pole sitters here have won the race. Jamie has that shot today. Bill?
The things you learn on the Discover Card Countdown to Green. After spending $10 million and moving a whole lot of dirt, this track now has progressive banking, the safer barrier, and the potential for some great racing. With the change from 6 degrees to 20 degrees in the turns, a lot of people are banking this could be the future for flat track racing. Here's Wally Dallenbach.
Welcome aboard my NBC Mountain Dew car. We're here at Miami Speedway. You remember Miami Speedway? It used to be a flat track. Now the drivers like racing on it, but the problem was the fans didn't like it too much because, well, it was pretty much single file racing. Now what they did here at Miami Speedway, they changed this racetrack completely. Let's take a lap around. The cool thing about this place is it's got progressive banking. So there's a little bit more banking right here in the middle than there is on the bottom, and there's even more banking up top than there is anywhere else. So this is a place where you're going to see a lot of side-by-side racing. This place is fast. If you like going fast, you're going to love this racetrack. It's very similar to Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is one of the fastest racetracks on the circuit. This place is smooth as glass, which drivers like a smooth racetrack. I think these guys at Miami Motor Speedway have done a fantastic job building a racetrack that the drivers are going to like racing on, and the fans are going to love to watch this race. What a great place to come at the end of the year to crown a champion.
Thanks, Wally. And this is the 5th Winston Cup race at this track, but the first time they've ever raced here on November 16th. In fact, it's only the 3rd time in the history of the sport the Winston Cup Series is raced on this date. Tim Richmond won at Riverside in 1986. The other time was 1997. Bobby Labonte had 1 win that year. He has 1 win this year. He was 7th in points that year. He's 8th in points this year. 6 years ago today, on November 16th, 1997, Bobby Labonte drove to victory lane at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The first time the Winston Cup Series ever raced there on the reconfigured 1.5-mile track. Now, you don't have to look it up because all season long, we already did. The countdown for 2003 is at 0, and the Ford 400 is next.
This has been the Discover Card Countdown to Green. Let's go racing.